17.2 Introduction. Mukesh is a 20-year-old person with disability. He has been hospitalized twice since last few years for depression and has even attempted suicide once. He is having issues with transportation and family support. He wants to take a professional help but unable to find a way for the same. Leena is a 35-year-old woman who has moved to Delhi 5 years back with her family in search of better job opportunities. Recently, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant economic crisis in many firms, she lost her job. She lives in a rented home with her 2 children and husband who does not have a steady job. She has been struggling with what she believes is depression. She cries frequently, have trouble in sleeping and has lost her appetite. She wants to talk to a counselor but does not know what to do, and she also does not want others to know about it. In your views, what should Mukesh and Leena do to find a counselor who can help them to deal with the problems that they are facing? The advancements in technology, especially the information and communication technology, has opened a new era in the field of counseling. We are living a technology-mediated life in which technology has become an indispensable tool for all professions. Like many other professions, counseling has also been revolutionized by technology. We have moved a long way from traditional face-to-face counseling to technology-integrated counseling. Technology has changed the way one practices a profession. But these changes have come with its own set of possible benefits and risks. In the above case examples of Mukesh and Leena, we can see the need for online counseling. Especially in the current scenario of COVID-19 pandemic, technology has provided many promising avenues for counseling practices. The pandemic has posed numerous mental health challenges to people of all age groups. The lockdown imposed by the governments in many countries as a consequence of the pandemic has brought forth numerous challenges in every aspect of life, more significantly in the mental health arena, with loneliness, depression, anxiety and stress, to name a few. People who have been through this life-threatening disease, along with their relatives who have witnessed it, have been facing psychological distress in this ongoing COVID times. Use of technology in the field of counseling can facilitate addressing this crucial need for extending psychological help and therapeutic intervention to people. Thus, technology can make counseling services available, accessible, and effective. However, technology may also pose a new and different set of challenges to counseling which we need to be aware of and deal with these. 17.3 Understanding counseling and technology. Counseling services majorly focus on assisting the individual in understanding their self and the world around so as to enable them to live a well-adjusted and effective life. Counseling is a process in which a more competent and knowledgeable person, counselor, assists less knowledgeable person, client, to develop self-awareness, understand the world around and gain perspective to issues and challenges faced so as to enable the client to make proper choices, decisions and adjustments. Thus, it is a learning-oriented process with a professionally competent person assisting the client to live life in a better way. Counseling is aimed at building upon the strengths of the clients and improve their overall functioning. Traditionally, counseling is understood as being grounded in face-to-face interactions between the counselor and the client. But more recently, this notion has been challenged given the adverse circumstances that are not conducive to face-to-face communications. Further, technological advancements have offered the possibility and the potential to improve counseling practices. This has necessitated the integration of technology into counseling practices. Technology basically refers to any hardware or software or media that is used to improve the counseling practice. Technological advancements, especially the internet-based technologies, have offered new and varied alternatives for counseling services. There are a wide variety of technology tools that can be used for better counseling services. One of the most common use of technology is web-based counseling, also known as e-counseling or online counseling, in which internet is used as the platform for interaction between the counselor and the client. Some of the ways in which technology is integrated in counseling practices includes the following: taking appointments for counseling by email, telephone or website, making records of the counseling sessions, offering online counseling services, conducting counseling sessions, monitoring the progress of client over time, doing homeworks and assignments given as part of counseling intervention, conducting assessments. From the perspective of counselors, technology can prove to be beneficial, helping in the overall counseling process and enhancing the counseling practice at the same time. Counselors can use technology in a number of ways to make their practice more effective and efficient. Following are some of the areas in which counselors can incorporate technology. Information. With technology, the counselor can have access to an ocean of information with just one click. The counselor can enhance his/her knowledge of various mental health issues that require counseling through using technology. Use of technology can help the counselor in keeping herself/himself updated with strong knowledge and research base. More specifically, internet as a source of information can help the counselor in gaining access to the desired knowledge. Communication. Technology can help the counselor in having a better communication with the clients. With various modes of communication made available by technology, counselor can collaborate and connect with more clients, thus providing better services. With the use of technology, communication on a professional level can be faster, more convenient and more efficient. Interaction. Technology has provided many interactive tools to the counselors, enhancing the quality of their counseling services. There are various softwares and web-based programs that can be used to make the counseling sessions more interactive. With the use of these technology-driven interactive tools, the counselor can get the desired information and can trace the development of the client over time. Delivery of services. With technology, the counselor can deliver the counseling services virtually. It increases the access of counseling services to people who are not able to travel because of their personal problems and other reasons. This is one of the most debatable issues, that whether to use technology to deliver counseling services or not, and to what extent technology can be used in the counseling profession. But delivering counseling services in online mode can be very helpful for people with disabilities who find traveling as an obstacle. It can be helpful for people living in rural areas who are not having access to a trained counselor in their area. Also, there are people who hesitate to meet a counselor in person because of the fear of social stigma attached with mental illnesses. There are also people who are reticent to meet a counselor or who have difficulty in self-disclosing. Assessment. Technology can be really helpful in assessment of the needs and problems of client, as it provides a variety of assessment tools and other related resources. Other than the above-mentioned areas, counselors can utilize technology to improve their counseling practice in a number of other ways. They can record the counseling sessions for the purpose of reflections at a later time, though of course with the consent of the client. It can also help the counselor in developing periodic reports of the client. 17.4 Online counseling. Counseling services can be provided through a wide variety of digital and online platforms, including email, audio or video meetings, social media, etc. From taking appointments online to arranging online counseling sessions, technology can be used in a variety of ways in the field of counseling. Online counseling can be understood as the interaction between a professional counselor and a client, which is mediated by technologies. There are a myriad of terms that are being used for online counseling, for example, e-counseling, online therapy, e-therapy, internet counseling, web counseling, cyber counseling, etc. Accordingly, online counseling has been defined in a number of ways, focusing on different forms of online counseling. Some of these definitions are any delivery of mental and behavioral health services, including but not limited to therapy, consultation, and psychoeducation, by a licensed practitioner to a client in a non-face-to-face setting through distance communication technologies such as the telephone, asynchronous email, synchronous chat, and video conferencing. Mallon and Fogel, a professional counselor or psychotherapist communicating with a client over the internet for the purpose of mental health assistance or emotional help. The help may only be one interaction or an ongoing dialogue and relationship. Pomerantz. Online counseling should be seen as a new type of therapeutic intervention which can support and complement face-to-face counseling rather than replacing it. Technology-driven counseling and traditional counseling should be seen along a continuum, with counseling practices purely based upon human interaction at one end and standalone technological interventions involving no human interaction at the other. The various modalities or ways in which online counseling can be done involve the following. Email. Email is one of the most common method of reaching to the counselor. The potential client composes a written text message and sends it to the counselor through an email provider like Yahoo Mail, Gmail, Hotmail, etc. It does not require the two parties to be online at the same time. For this reason, email is also called as asynchronous communication. It is a text-based communication that does not require the presence of the counselor and the counseled at the same time. It is an ideal platform for those working in different time zones, providing them the opportunity for introspective responses. It requires especially the counselor to have excellent command of the language to avoid the possibility of any misunderstandings. Online chat. Chat is different from email as it requires the two individuals to be online at the same time. Both the counselor and the client can send and receive messages instantly. This process is also called as synchronous communication. It includes writing one's experiences, problems, issues and sending it to the counselor. This text-oriented way of counseling proved to be very effective as it helps in reflecting upon one's own thoughts and feelings through the medium of writing it. But at the same time, such communication has a major concern of lack of social signaling. There is a lack of personal contact between the counselor and the client with the use of only written communication. For online chatting, various mobile messaging applications can be used, many of which also provide the features of social networking. Examples of these mobile apps include WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, etc. Video conferencing. Video conferencing is more dynamic than email and chat as it provides the option of sending and receiving audio and video messages along with text messages. This method of communication has become more popular in the recent times. It is considered as synchronous communication as both the counselor and the client are required to be online at the same time. With this technology, the counselor can attend to the non-verbal cues such as facial expressions and tone along with the textual information. In recent times, video conferencing has proved to be one of the most beneficial tools as it is less ambiguous as compared to textual information with fewer misunderstandings. It provides multisensorial cues like body language, appearance, expressions that can provide valuable information about the client to the counselor. It can be done using the digital tools like Zoom, Skype, Google Meet, etc. Built-in cameras in mobile devices and laptops have made video calling more convenient and accessible for all. Telephone-based counseling. Counseling is often conducted via telephone, making telephonic conversations as the basis of the counseling process. It involves verbal exchange between the counselor and the client in the real time. In times of need such as during the current COVID-19 pandemic, government along with many NGOs have provided helpline numbers for telephonic counseling. Such services have proved to be useful for many people in despair. Telephone-based counseling ensure more accessibility and immediate assistance to people in need. For example, ICALL, the Psychosocial Helpline, is a telephone helpline set up by the Tata Institute of Social Sciences to address the psychosocial needs of people in need of counseling services. Social media. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp are frequently used by people to seek psychological help. There are social networking sites on which people can create their personal profiles and can interact with each other. It typically involves posting text, picture, video, audio, or even location tags to any social media platform. Social networking sites can be used as a means of market services. Social media can be used as a powerful medium of advertising and growing one's business. Social media can be used therapeutically in a number of ways. It can help the counselor in knowing the public persona of a client that can help in providing better counseling services. Besides that, counselors can also create their professional accounts on various social media platforms where they can share relevant information with their clients. More recently, social media has also proved to be useful in offering therapeutic healing through a virtual world. Web-based counseling. Web-based interventions are provided by using internet and are largely self-directed interventions. Such counseling services can be audio or video or text-based. It is primarily self-guided and aimed to create a positive therapeutic change by enhancing the knowledge base of the counselor and client. There are websites in which a person can log in and use interactive web-based components and mental health-related material like completing various exercises and workbooks. Websites of different institutions, universities and ministries have also started designated portals for addressing the mental health concerns of people during COVID-19 situation. For instance, the Manadapan initiative of the Ministry of Education aims at providing psychosocial support for improving the mental health and well-being of students and teachers during COVID-19 and beyond. Although there is no direct counselor and client-like situation here, these websites provide access to various mental health resources through articles, videos, tips, helpline numbers and emails. The above technologies can be used in combination also in counseling situation depending upon the specific requirements of the client and the problem diagnosed. 17.5 Advantages of online counseling. Embracing technology in the field of counseling can make the process of counseling more faster and convenient. Technology has enhanced communication between the counselor and the counseled, helping them learn better about the problem and the subsequent treatment. But for a comprehensive understanding of the process of online counseling, it is important to understand the plausible advantages and disadvantages of online counseling. In the recent times, online counseling has become a solution to the mental health problems of many people who could not avail the counseling services in the face-to-face mode due to the recent mishaps by coronavirus pandemic and the resultant restrictions on movement. Furthermore, there are people who face difficulties in leaving their home or office due to their commitments and other limitations. In other cases, people do not want to visit the counselor in person due to stigma associated with it and would prefer the anonymity offered by online counseling situation. For all such people, online counseling has become a boon, by providing the desired mental health services as and when required. E-counseling is more cost-effective as compared to traditional face-to-face counseling. It is affordable to a wider section of society. It can benefit many people through cost savings from reduced traveling expenses, more access to specialist care and so on. Subsequently, it has increased the accessibility of counseling services to more and more people in need. Furthermore, there are people who feel more conscious and anxious in face-to-face counseling. There can also be social pressure on the person for not seeking professional mental health services on account of being stigmatized. Technology-mediated counseling have reached to all such people who are phobic of social situations and are hesitant to meet the counselor for face-to-face therapy sessions. Not only for the clients but for the counselors also, online counseling provides more flexibility and adaptability. It provides a more comfortable and convenient space to both the counselor and the client. With online counseling, the restrictions put by availability time and the physical location of the counselor also seem to get diluted, thus providing more flexibility and accessibility. Furthermore, integrating technologies in the process of counseling can also facilitate the recording of the counseling sessions, thus helping both the counselor and the client in getting proper feedback of the previous sessions. It helps in reflective thinking and taking appropriate actions for future counseling sessions, thus benefiting both the counselor and the client. It helps in tracing the improvements in the client over time and support in getting constructive evaluation of the whole process. Since online counseling does not require the physical presence of the client, it removes the barriers caused by gender, age, race and other social status. Clients feel free to express their thoughts and feelings without fear of being judged. Clients can also save time and be consistent in counseling sessions despite their routine work burden, household workload, traveling and other responsibilities. Thus, online counseling increases the autonomy exerted by clients, making them feel empowered. It can prove to be beneficial to people of all sections of society, including people with disabilities. Thus, the use of technology in counseling can have the following benefits: increased accessibility to counseling services, decreased stigmatization of people receiving counseling services, enhanced connectivity between the counselor and the client, less influence of geographical location of counselor and client, time efficiency, cost-effective and affordable, convenience. 17.6 Disadvantages of online counseling. There has always been a debate around using technology in counseling. Many counseling professionals have expressed their concerns regarding online counseling practices. These concerns are mainly about the quality of online counseling practices and a range of technological, ethical and legal issues. One of the main disadvantages of online counseling is the human touch that might be missing in online therapies. Counseling requires human interaction with a sense of empathy and trust. Since the physical presence of the counselor and the client is not there, the virtual interaction can be dull and cold. The text often fails to express the emotions and the emphatic tone that is required for a successful counseling session. It might be misunderstood as conveying a different meaning than what the writer, counselor or client, intended to convey. There are higher chances of misinterpretation as compared to a situation of face-to-face counseling. Online counseling may appear to be more formal, thus creating problems in establishing a good therapeutic relationship. In the absence of nonverbal cues, emotions and feelings might go unnoticed or underrepresented in the counseling process. Counselors may miss many facial and paralanguage cues. Proper diagnosis of the problem requires the observation of both verbal as well as nonverbal cues, including gestures, facial expressions, voice intonations and body language. Online counseling might lack all these features, thus posing challenge to the counselors. Because of increased use of technology in counseling, there is a danger of commercialization of mental health services which can reduce it to a commodity. This would not only degrade the quality of services provided, but there will also be the risk of accessibility of services. Furthermore, there may be inconsistencies in the thinking, feelings and the written expressions of the client. The urge to behave in a socially desirable way and the fear of being judged might lead the client to portray a happy picture in front of the counselor. On the contrary, there may be clients who may exaggerate their problems just to get the attention of the counselor. It might be difficult to capture all such inconsistencies in thought, feelings and actions in the absence of nonverbal cues. Also, technological assistance might not be available to all the potential clients all the time. Online counseling requires some electronic device like computer, laptop or mobile phones and internet facilities, which might not to be available. Along with that, online counseling also require both the counselor and the client to have a set of skills, especially the skills of reading and writing using electronic devices and other technology. The level of digital literacy of the client and the counselor is an important factor. There can be difficulty in finding out the potential clients for internet-based counseling, as not all clients might feel convenient and comfortable with the idea of integrating technology into counseling. The suitability of a counseling technique also needs to be considered to ensure that it works the best for the concerned client and his/her problems. Finally, there may be online fatigue also experienced by the counselor, having to take so many counseling sessions online and interacting with the clients in the virtual mode. Thus, the potential risks of online counseling can include absence of non-verbal cues, poor understanding of emotional expressions, commercialization of mental health services, less effective in dealing with emergency situations, issues related to technology competence of the counselor and the client, social and cultural differences between counselor and the client. 17.7 Ethical considerations. Advancements in the field of counseling due to technological interventions need to be understood within the framework of ethical issues and concerns. The new ways of counseling need careful considerations. After all, the whole process still involves human beings who interact with each other with the purpose of finding solution to the problems. There are many regulatory bodies at the international level which have issued guidelines regarding the code of ethics while practicing online counseling. Some of these regulatory bodies are the American Counselling Association, the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, and the Australian Counselling Association. There was no such regulating body in India till now, though there are a number of private organizations and professional bodies aiming at creating awareness about ethical practice in counseling and supporting fellow counselors to provide effective counseling. For example, Indian Counselling Association, Counselor Council of India, Association of Indian School Counsellors and Allied Professionals. Rehabilitation Council of India, RCI, is the only statutory body in India which provides license to practice as clinical psychologists and special educators in the field of special education and rehabilitation after completing RCI recognized courses. Recently, the GAPCH of India has passed an Act on National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Act, NGAHA, on the 28th of March 2020, which will be a regulating body in the field of allied healthcare services, including the field of psychology and counseling. The detailed regulations and licensing procedure for ethical practice are going to be implemented shortly. One of the main principles of carrying out counseling is maintaining the confidentiality of the whole counseling process, including the details of the client, their problem and related information. In online counseling, there are more threats to the confidentiality posed by hackers and other people who might have access to the emails or other technological platforms used for the purpose of counseling. Sensitive information about the client might get leaked, thus creating problems for both the counselor and the client. Thus, it is important that the counselor take appropriate steps to limit the risk of leaking or stealing information related to the client by any third party. The most common step that a counselor can take is by using encryption, which safeguards transfer of data while communicating with the client. There are various programs and encryption devices that the counselor can use for the purpose of encryption. Furthermore, it is important that the counselor informs the clients about the potential threats to confidentiality and that the counselor can only protect the confidentiality up to a certain degree. Language also becomes one of the concerns in online counseling. In order to have a better understanding of the client's problems, it is important that the language used is free from misinterpretation to the maximum extent possible. For this, the counselor and client can develop some techniques with mutual understanding, like using emojis to convey emotional expressions, using images to clarify the meaning behind text messages, etc. Since the physical boundaries get blurred due to internet usage, there may be a situation in which the counselor and the client belong to totally different socio-cultural context and different time zone also. In such a situation, it becomes pertinent to pay adequate attention to the social identity of the client and other contextual factors. Furthermore, as it is important in any type of counseling process, obtaining informed consent is an important issue in online counseling also. It is more of a legal procedure wherein the client is informed all the potential benefits and risks of a therapeutic intervention. The counselor should inform about the roles and responsibilities of client and counselor, and the counseling process. In addition, counselor needs to inform about the additional ethical issues in online counseling and seek the permission of the client before starting the counseling process. The counselor who choose to go for e-counseling should have sufficient understanding of the technology so as to facilitate the overall counseling process. This includes appropriate knowledge of the digital tool being used for online counseling and ensuring clients' cyber safety and confidentiality. Furthermore, the severity of the problem should also be kept in mind while opting for online counseling. Online counseling is not found to be suitable for clients who are suffering from severe psychiatric problem requiring immediate attention, like those who are significantly depressed or those having suicidal tendencies. Such clients should be encouraged and referred for face-to-face counseling. The ethical issues in face-to-face counseling situation applies equally to the online counseling. In addition, the nuances of technology pose additional concerns related to confidentiality and creating a therapeutic climate for the effectiveness of counseling. Competence of the counselor consists of relationship competence and technical competence. Relationship competence refers to the ability of the counselor to create proper rapport and a helping relationship, whereas technical competence indicates the ability of the counselor to have the requisite skills to carry out the counseling sessions and plan interventions. In the advent of online counseling, counselors need to have another competence, technological competence, that is, the ability to use technology smoothly and effectively for the purpose of providing counseling. Thus the main ethical considerations of e-counseling focuses on the following: confidentiality of the client, security issues, informed consent, technological competence of the counselor, dehumanization of the counseling process, a sense of distance from the counselor. 17.8 Let us sum up. In the present unit, you learned about the integration of technology into counseling practice and service. As you are aware, Technology and its availability have changed the ways of life in the present digital age. Technology has not only decreased the distance between people by providing various digital tools of communication, it has also revolutionized all aspects of life. Technological support can prove to be life-saving, particularly during the time of public health emergency like the current COVID-19 pandemic. The unit describes different ways in which technology can be integrated into counseling. Online counseling is one of the products of the recent technological advancements with a lot of promising prospects, but it is important to be mindful of the ethical considerations of integrating technology into counseling practices. Technology has not only supported the traditional counseling approaches, but it has also led to increased accessibility and efficiency.